Today we're talking about the truth of the Bible. What do I mean by that? The truths of the Bible. Things that is evident in what we see throughout the Bible, in the Bible, translated across the life we live currently. Things that are undisputable facts about how Christianity is compared to other world religions. How do we know we're right? Well, these here are some instances of that. Let's start with something doesn't come from nothing. Life does not come from non-life. See, the environment that we live in currently is perfectly suitable, perfectly made for life. Same with all the other animals and plants here too. The earth is perfectly suitable for life. And for that to happen just by accident, in and of itself, mind you, if we exclude life in itself, but for a planet to be able to have life, or to be able to have the environment to hold life, that in and of itself is almost impossible. And to think that happened by chance, and not that there's a creator behind it. If you look into the cosmos and you look into the night sky, there's no way to think that there wasn't a creator involved. There was an intelligent mind behind the hand of making the earth and the cosmos. Second one is there is 44 authors of the Bible, and they wrote it within like hundreds of years of each other. And there is still 63,000, let me say that again, 63,000 cross-references. That is from the Old Testament to the New Testament. 63,000 times they have cross-referenced each other. They have used each other to prove points. And not just proving points, but even when it's not using the exact same wording, 63,000 times one verse from the Old Testament proves another verse from the New Testament, and then vice versa. 63,000 times. It's insane. Just thinking that happens by accident is crazy. It's crazy. Another big thing is that these authors wrote eyewitness testimonies. Eyewitness, they saw the things that Jesus did and they wrote this down. Unlike other books out there that aren't eyewitness, the people who wrote the Gospels actually saw these things happen. And then they wrote it down a bit later. Archaeologists are finding things that prove the Bible as well, prove stories that people thought were just stories, but they're really things that have happened to people. Take for instance when Moses split the Red Sea in two, right, to let the Israelites through. There are chariot wheels from the carts that the Egyptians would have ridden to try to follow them, left in the Red Sea, because in the Bible it says after the Israelites have passed through, right, God had closed the Red Sea on the Egyptians and made them drown. And we find cartwheels, not like a cartwheel, but like Egyptian chariot wheels in the Red Sea. On the mountain that we believe that Noah's Ark was landed on, we find big U-boat structures. I mean, it wasn't really a U-boat, but it was huge. We see just wood and bolts and everything from there. On Mount Sinai with Moses again, the top of where we believe Mount Sinai is charred. Because there was fire there in the Bible. There was fire there. Because the presence of God was there and it was literally fire. Fire was raining down on Mount Sinai. And you can tell there's one part on Mount Sinai that looks a little burnt. Another archaeological fact, there's so many of these, how can these be disproven? In the area of Sodom and Gomorrah, two cities that had turned against God. They got to face the wrath of God. And God rained down fiery sulfur out of the land. If you go to those areas, you can find sulfur balls. And that, sulfur is like a thing that can happen on Earth. But to find them all over in the exact spot that in the Bible it says, yes, gotta rain down burning sulfur. I don't think I want to get touched by burning sulfur. That hurts. We find it there. We find it there. Again, it's like, whoa, yeah, this was written. And then 2,000, 3,000 years later, we can go there and see these exact things. We're seeing the things that are written down in this book. It's undisputable. Also in the book of Revelation, when it talks about the end times, and also just all throughout the Bible when it talks about the end times, there's a lot of things that are happening right now that reflect, hey, the time is coming soon. Right? Rivers drying up. It says, hey, when the time is near, rivers are going to dry up. The Euphrates rivers are going to dry up. Guess what? Euphrates river's drying up. It is. It truly is. It also says that men will wear women's clothing. Take a look around you, folks. You go on the internet, you can't not see that. It's everywhere. And it is a sin according to the Bible. It's obvious. We're seeing these things happen. We're seeing these things happen. God talks about all of these end time things that are going to happen. Hey, the biggest country is going to fall. Is that happening right now? What's going on right now in the world? Look around. There's going to be just utter war all around us. There's going to be chaos. Guess what? There's chaos everywhere. And Jesus tells the Christians, hey, you're going to get persecuted for just believing in me. And let me tell you, right now, out of most religions, the one that's getting the most persecuted, it's Christians. Look, the Olympics in Paris, they mocked the Last Supper. And it's fine to mock Jesus and God and use his name in vain, but if you use any other name, people are going to look weird at you. If you use the name of the Muslim God, or if you curse in the name of the Hindu gods, they look at you a little weird. But when you use Jesus as a curse word, in this world, it's okay. When you use the word God as a word to describe something derogatory, to curse, the world thinks it's fine. Why is that? Why is it that it is fine to say the word Jesus and use it just as like oh crap? Are you serious? Like, you're using his name in vain, but if someone were to stub their toe and say, oh, Muhammad, people are going to look at you, why are you saying that? Exactly. See, the Christians are the ones getting the most discriminated against in this country. Not even in this country, in this world. 70 Christians in the Democratic Republic of the Congo were killed. Not just like, oh yeah, they were killed slowly, softly. No, beheaded and killed for believing in Jesus. If that doesn't scream, hey, Christians are getting persecuted, I don't know what does. Maybe we're not seeing beheadings in the United States, but you look around and you see it elsewhere in this world. And maybe it's not beheadings in the United States, but hey, maybe it's, hey, you can't come here because you're Christian. Hey, you're going to get yelled at because you're Christian. Believing that, hey, because you're Christian, you probably believe this way politically. It's insane. The way Christians get persecuted against and made fun of in this world, it has become such an everyday thing for me to hear someone say, oh, JC, or GD. I hear that all the time. And it's fine to say that, but if you curse any other god, man, you're weird for that. But if you curse Christianity's God, it's normal. What is going on, guys? We're getting persecuted left and right, man. See, some people worry about the translations. Like, the Bible's been translated so many times. How do we know it's accurate? Well, take a look at any book. We'll go Mein Kampf by Hitler, right? That's translated from German to English, right? How do we know, that's accurate? Because we have current scholars that know the right German words to match with the English words. Same thing with the scholars of Hebrew in the Old Testament and Greek in the New. We have people who can accurately say that these words are this, right? That Abba means father, right? That Elohim means the God, right? That Yahweh means I am, right? We have scholars that know these languages, just like how if you were to ask someone to translate English to Spanish for you, right? And some people are like, well, it's going to get corrupted because you're translating it and you're messing it up and it's not in the original tongue. Look, if you put the Spanish subtitles on this video, it's still going to tell you what I'm saying, but in Spanish. Maybe some of the words are a little different because they have to be. The Spanish might not have the word for that. But you're still going to get the gist of what I'm saying. You're still going to understand my words. Right? Same thing with the Bible. Except, just like Spanish, we have current people that can translate for it. We have current people that can translate that Hebrew, that Greek, even Aramaic. Right? Yes, there's Aramaic in the Bible. It's the language Jesus spoke. He also spoke Greek. He could speak any language because he's God. He can do whatever he wants. But saying that it's corrupted just because it's a holy book, that's like looking at any other historical text and be like, that's corrupted because it was written in this language and it's been 2,000 years since that's written. We look at the hieroglyphics on walls of Egyptian pyramids and we say, oh yes, all of this we can translate perfectly fine. We don't know what some of this is, but we know what these sentences are. And you don't think that can get corrupted? You don't think we can look at images on a wall and say, all right, this might mean this. And you can be confident about that, but the Bible, something that tells you to have good morals, it is wrongly translated. And the morals, I want to get into that too. If you're not a Christian and you're hating on the Bible and you're hating on Christians, it's cool if you don't believe. I would love for you to believe, but also, it's cool if you don't. Right? I ain't hating you. I hope that you turn to Christ, and I hope that you learn to love Him. But I can't change your heart. But the morals in the Bible are insanely great. We learn to love. We learn to forgive. We learn to be humble. And anywhere else, they're just going to be like, oh yeah, no. The world tells you not to forgive, but to hold that grudge in your heart. The world tells you that it's all about you, man. You want that car, you go get that car. You love your house you live in, tell everyone you love their house you live in. Well, the Bible tells us, hey, be humble. Because Jesus was lowly, he lived a lowly life. He was the Son of God, but guess what? He lived as a servant, as should we. Right? If you think about that, how good of a world would this be if we all served each other and all helped each other become better people? Come on. Praise Jesus, bro. We gotta live like Jesus lived, man. That's all we gotta do. We can't be focusing on all these things about ourselves, trying to make ourselves better people, and try to just focus on ourselves. We gotta build a relationship with Christ. Build a relationship with Jesus. Everything else gonna fall in line. And I will say something to you if you're an unbeliever right now, or just someone who doesn't know much about Christ. If you're wondering if you your life's messed up and you're like, I don't know if I can come to Christ yet. I gotta fix my life up first. Get all my sins together. Don't worry. You just gotta follow Christ. Everything else gonna fall in place right after you do that. Right after you devote your life to Jesus, everything else gonna come by. Jesus changes you. You don't gotta change for Jesus. Jesus will change in you once you have Him. You will start seeing that the worldly things that you thought were once going to fill you up, that you thought that once were going to help you through life, that they mean nothing to you anymore. And that the Bible and Jesus is what really matters. And you'll cling on to that hope and you'll cling on to that faith. So my brothers and sisters, I pray that you cling on to Jesus. I pray that you cling on to the Lord. And I hope you know the truths about the Bible. That it is not altered, it is not tampered with. That it is perfect, it is the perfect law of God. That there are so many cross references that you can't imagine how many times this is. That creation is a creative thing, and He made humans creative. And if our mind is creative and we can create little things, how much more can a God like that create? And that our morals that we have reflect just greatness, even if you're not a Christian. The morals are amazing. So my brothers and sisters, I just pray that you love the Lord and you focus on Him.